So you are looking for a warrior build that is even playable as a fully core Guild Wars 2 account. Yes, this build is for you. It is bonking the enemy down and you have so much fun with this build while also being very good, in my opinion, for Guild Wars 2 roaming. If you're intrigued by this, be sure to watch the whole video to miss out a thing about this amazing build. Thanks as always to all my dear supporters that help me keep the lights on, and now without much further ado, let's jump straight in. I want to promote this amazing build because it's very fun to play. I did not come up with it, I just want to promote it. If you have more questions and all the credits for the original build to this, their account name is in the description down below. And if you have any more questions, be sure to ask them, or of course me in the comments. With that much said, let's start with the gear. So for gear, you're running a core warrior build that uses full diviner's armor, and if you want, you can use power infusions, but of course it's not necessary. Diviners gives you power, precision, ferocity, and some concentration. Actually quite a lot of concentration. You will see why concentration is so important for that build. But to be honest, I'm not joking, you can actually run a lot of different gear stats here. You can go Marauder, Demolisher, whatever you want, Commander pieces, whatever you want. It's just, you need a lot of power damage to make this build work, but you don't need that much crit chance. And ferocity would also increase the damage, but you can go for different ones. That's just the one that makes sense in our eyes. For the rune, I would go either with Superior Rune of the Traveler, as you can see here, or Superior Rune of the Firework. Both are very good and give you power scaling, but Traveler gives you movement speed and some boon duration, whereas Fireworks doesn't give the movement speed, but gives you even more boon duration. So I personally like to run around a little bit faster to kite, to make it more like stick on the target, but if you need more boon duration, you can even go for Fireworks. For the weapons, you would go with Staff, Mace, Mace. If you have only the core game, you would not have access to Staff, then you can run maybe Longbow, anything that works for you. That's just a utility defensive setup, maybe a shield and a sword or something like that. The only important part about this build that you have to take is Mace, Mace. For the stats there, you go Commander pieces, so you get some toughness in there. And for the staff, or for the defensive weapon set, I would go with Superior Sigil of Energy and Cleansing to get some more endurance and some condi remove when you swap weapons. For the mace, I would always go with Superior Sigil of Celerity to get some nice quickness. This is almost 10 seconds every 20 seconds, so it's really, really good. A lot of quickness that you have here. And on the second weapon, you can either go for Sigil of Severance, which gives you some nice big stat boost when you interrupt an enemy, which you do very frequently. It's 500 stats for 4 seconds. It's really, really good. If you don't want to run that, you can also go for Hydromancy Sigil to proc some nice damage around you. You could go, if you want to have some boon steal, you can go for some Absorption Sigil to get some more boons when you interrupt an enemy. This has an internal cooldown of 10 seconds, so it's not the best, but it's still decent. And you could even go, if you really wanted to, for let's say Generosity or something, to cleanse some conditions and transfer them to the enemy. But I would say the setup with Celerity and Severance is really, really good in my eyes, so that's why I took this. For the trinkets, you would go with full Commander trinkets, so get some toughness in there. And for the amulet, you would go Diviner again. But it does not really matter, like I said, there you choose what you think is important, how much defenses you want, how much vitality, toughness and stuff, and get as much boon duration and crit chance. And crit chance is not that important, but critical hit damage and power as possible. So this is just my setup. Link to the exotic and the ascended version of this build is in the description down below. If this video isn't quite enough and you want to improve even faster, I've got something for you. It's called The Guild. And you might have heard about it, but it's a website completely focused on helping players get drastically better at World vs. World and PvP specifically, by learning directly from some of the best players out there, like Boys and Jose. Here's what you get. Close to 100 long, in-depth guides and gameplay commentaries, with new ones added every week. You will also find complete lists of the current meta and top builds available for free, while the in-depth guides and matchups are part of their paid courses. They even include footage reviews packed with tips and tricks. And on top of that, the guild runs weekly and bi-weekly group sessions for both NA and AU, where members duel, practice and learn together. You'll also have round-the-clock support whenever you have questions, plus a constantly updated catalog of meta builds. Hundreds of members who've joined the paid courses are already seeing massive progress and insane value. So if you're serious about leveling up your game in Guild Wars 2, definitely check out the guild. Link is of course in the description down below. And big thanks to the guild for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about the relic. The relic has multiple choices that you can actually make. one of the best choices is Relic of Mistborn. Just get more crit chance while you have 20 stacks or more of might, which you have all the time, because Relic of the Mistborn grants you 1 additional stack of might whenever you get might on a 1 second internal cooldown. So it's just really, really potent. You will see why in a second with the traits, but this is very, very strong. There are alternatives for this relic. If you don't have it or don't want to use it, you can use Relic of Agony, which gives some nice damage, delayed damage when you interrupt, and you interrupt a lot of the times. I think this is not necessary, but you can have some fun with it. If you are on a core account, you would go with Relic of Evasion. That's a core relic that grants you some more vigor whenever you evade an attack. So very, very strong to dodge more often. Just very, very potent relic. It's probably the best one that you can get. You can also go for Relic of Isgaren if you have it to get some more damage. You can go for probably the most damaging relic that you can get is Relic of the Claw, because you CC so much time, so you get 7% damage multiplier all the time. There are so many good ones that you can go for. You can of course also go for Relic of Rivers, which of course grants you some alacrity and region when you dodge. It's not as broken as it was before the nerf, but it's still a very solid choice. And of course you can go for Relic of Febe if you want, which grants you on your healing skills some movement impairing condition removal and some swiftness, so very potent as well. But there are so many options. Choose what you have access to or what you think is the best for your playstyle. Now let's talk about the consumables. So for the consumables, I have to say I'm sorry for this messy inventory here. That's just my storage character for all my ascended gear. For food, the cheap option is fried golden dumplings. Just get some might whenever you crit and get some more concentration. Very, very cheap, like almost nothing. So get that at least if you want to have a working build. If you can afford ascended food or if you have access to it, I would recommend though spiced peppercorn cheesecakes, because it grants you a small protection buff of minus 10% incoming damage while also granting you the same stats like the fried golden dumplings with 100 concentration and 33% chance to gain might on critical hit. That has an ICD, but still more might means more value in this build. You will see why in a second. For utility consumables, of course you can go for sharpening stones if you only have those, but the best option would be Potion of Karka Toughness. You can get this from Soulstone Cove, link is in the description down below. To the wiki how to get this, you get 150 toughness in World vs. World. It works as well. Very, very strong. Just more defensive stats that you can get. Before I go to the traits, I want to mention, if you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. But now, let's jump into the traits. So for the traits, you want to run Strength, Arms, and Defense. You're a core warrior after all, so you can have 3 core traits. Let's start with Strength. It's quite straightforward. You get a dodge empowerment, so when you dodge you get some might and you damage some enemies, unblockable damage, so quite nice. You get more endurance when you use your burst skills and you hit them, so 15 endurance, that's almost a third of a dodge, that's quite nice. And then your Pinnacle of Strength grants your might more power and you have more crit chance, just nice damage increase. Then you take Restorative Strength. Whenever you use a healing skill, you get some might and long-lasting resistance. That's the good part about this. Resistance is really strong on this build because you are quite weak to blind and stuff like that, so really, really strong here. Then your stuns and all your CC skills inflict weakness, very annoying to deal with, and vulnerability. So you can stack up like crazy amounts of vulnerability in the target and burst them down with 25% more damage increase then. And then you have Might Max Right. That just means that whenever you grant might to yourself, you heal yourself a bit and grant some endurance. The endurance might seem low, but you apply so much might to yourself that you get that all the time, and therefore can dodge and dodge and dodge and heal and dodge. It's really, really strong. Those traits are very working well together. If you want another damage increase and very good setup with your Bull's Charge, you can also go for Peak Performance if you don't need the resistance. But I think it's not always the best choice. Then you have Arms, which is the very important trait line here, because you really want to get some value from one of the traits specifically. This is not that good, you just get a little more crit chance from Fury. Not that important because you can easily crit cap, we will see why in a second. Gets just another crit chance against bleeding foes, okay. You get some bleeding, not that good, and you get dual wielding, that's the important one. Attack speed is increased while wielding a main hand weapon in your offhand. So you have 20% increased attack speed while you have maces equipped. And then you get some healing as well just by bonking them. Just a little bit of healing, that helps. It's more about the attack speed. Then you have Unsuspecting Foe, just 50% crit chance increased against disabled foes. This should be always the case if you want to get a lot of damage out. Typically the foe is disabled and then you get 50% more crit chance and you are guaranteed a 2 crit with this build setup. So really, really strong trait, and therefore the Fury is actually not important. Of course it helps if the target is not disabled, but if this is disabled, typically that is the case. If you want to get a lot of burst damage down, this is a very, very strong trait. And then you take either Signet Mastery, as I do here, because I run 2 Signets. It can be really fun to stack up some ferocity and deal even more damage, and get a passive every time you hit someone on a 20-second ICD below 50% health. You get a passive unblockable Signet for the next 10 attacks and some might on top of that as well. Can be really fun to kill the enemy. But if you want to have some more Fury uptime, permanent Fury with this trait, easy, again, Fury and Adrenaline when you immobilize or disable a 4, which you can do all the time. Really, really strong as well. I think it's not necessary, so you can easily go for Signet Mastery. If you run multiple Signets, we'll get to that in the skills section. Then we have Defense, really good, just a lot of defense. Get Protection when you use a healing skill, get some passive healing, really good. Get some damage reduction while you have Resolution, and get some passive Resolution, just overall good things to take. Then you have Call the Weak. I like to take that, just more damage against weakened foes, and your burst skills inflict weakness. You don't do that many burst skills all the time, so you can easily swap that, for example, to Shield Master to get some Reflect on your Star 5 or your Shield 5 if you use Shield, and get some nice Adrenaline. But you can also go Dogged March. All those 3 traits are fine. They are not insane either way, but I like to take this one just if I hit the burst skills, stun them with my mace, get some more damage after that. Makes sense. Then I like to take Resilient Roll, again for the same reason that this one is really strong, because resistance is very potent on this build. If you can upkeep it very easily with the dodge, that helps. If you can upkeep it even without it or don't need it, then you can easily go for Merciless Hammer, just for getting crazy damage increase on your strike damage against disabled foes with the mace skills, and get some Adrenaline. I really like this for the damage increase, but if you can't connect the damage because you're blinded or immobilized all the time, then Resilient Roll is a good choice there as well. So switch whatever you need. Both of them are completely fine. And then you always have to take Stalwart Strength. That's amazing. Just almost permanent stability whenever you CC an enemy on a quarter of a second cooldown. You get stability 1 stack, and you deal increased strike damage while you have stability. Just very, very good synergy with all the maces and the really good traits that you have here already. So it makes a lot of sense. That's how you set it up. You can switch around some stuff, but those are the most important traits. Let's quickly cover the skills. So Staff skill is just for some nice healing, some repositioning on the 2 and 3. The 4 is a nice pull. The 5 is a nice block and also some healing. Can also be used to reflect, but typically you would use the staff for the healing on the 2, 3, and F1. And then your mace is of course very nice for another block on the 2, which can also be a reflect. The 3 is a nice barrier and some CC in melee range. The 4 is some very heavy damage and vulnerability, which you can reset if you use the 5 skills. So 4 into 5 and it hits, then again another 4. So really nice potent damage. The 5 is also a big nasty knockdown, and it's also like a long range CC. If you hit that from range, you can also move to them and get some nice damage then as well. And of course the auto attack, just some nice bonking damage. And if you hit the Skullcrack, it's a 3¼ second stun. It's really potent. If they don't have a stun break, that's like guaranteed kill almost. Really, really potent as well. Then you have your healing skill. I would always take Mending for the nice Condi cleanse and some healing. But you can, if you don't like it, Mending, you can also go for Defiant Stance for some, so to say, invulnerability, and you take all the damage and get healed. So really potent as well. But I think Mending is better because you struggle a little bit against Condis. So really fun if you have some Condi cleanse there. Then you have Bull's Charge, just really nice repositioning tool. It's also an evade, and if you hit it, it's a 3-second knockdown. Again, a really nice CC. That can be a very good setup skill. Then you have Signet of Stamina if you take the Signet line. So I would only take this if you really take the Signet trait. Then you get some nice passive endurance regeneration, and when you activate it, it cleanses all the Condis from you. And depending on how many Condis you cleansed, you get even more conditions, even more endurance back. So if I take that without any Condis, I will get a dodge back. If I have a lot of Condis, I will even get 2 dodges back or something. So it's really, really potent, and it also grants you the 100 ferocity. That's why I like to take that one. Then you have Dolyak's Signet if you go the Signet path. That gives and just decreases the damage you take, and also grants you some heal and stability when you activated it. And it's a stun break, so really potent. And you can just train down the enemy if you have stability there. If you don't want to take the Signet route, then you can swap those Signets. Bull's Charge I would always keep. Also keep in mind, if you run 2 Signets or even 3 with the lead Signet, you can also take that one. Then it's possible to go for Astral Rod Relic as well if you really wanted to get some more resistance and some more Condi cleanse. It's not the best choice, but it's a decent choice if you run 3 or 4 Signets. For alternatives to Signet or Stamina or even Dolyak's Signet, I would say you can go for Endure Pain or even Balance Stance for some defenses. You can go for the Banner of Tactics for Stun Break and some nice super speed and stability. That can be quite important. You can of course go for Shake It Off if you need more Condi Cleanse and the Stun Break. This is what I would set up, but there are other options here. You just go for the utility skill that you like. Rampage is a very good one because it has a lot of CC if you transform. The 3 skill is a nice repositioning tool. The 4 and the 5 some nice CC. The 2 as well as. And the auto take can be quite potent if you hit the enemy if they are CC'd. So it's a really good synergy, but you can easily go for Signet of Rage if you want to have some nice dodge spike, because you get 20 miles instantly, which means almost a full dodge, and then you get some nice Signet passives there as well, so it can be a nice synergy as well. I just think the Rampage makes a lot of sense with all the CC setup. And you can see in the background, really fun build, really fun if it works. If it doesn't work, or if the enemy has a lot of conditions or stability or just disengages all the time, this build might not be the best, but a lot of the times it works surprisingly well, so be sure to give it a try. And like I said, it's a core warrior build, so you can play it even without having any expansion. So really fun. Special credits again to this. Be sure to check out the description if you want to message them for some more information about this build. But thanks again for sharing this with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.